Very dark in here.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 So today we're moving on to the last unit in this Bhakti Vaibhava course. This is chapter 14, Canto 6, beginning chapter 14 today. So, previous chapter we heard about Indra's sinful reactions. Now, chapter 14, coming back to Maharaj Chitraketu. We will hear how Maharaj Parikshit has some questions at the beginning of the chapter. He wants to know more about this person. How was it this person who is in the demon body could have so much devotional quality? Right? So, certainly Maharaj Parikshit is very attentive and he immediately picks up on an interesting point and he asks a very relevant question. And so he says, because the demons are generally sinful and influenced by passion and ignorance, how was it possible that Vritrasura could be such a good devotee? And Prabhupada quotes a verse from Bhagavad Gita 7:28, right? 7:28.
Naham prakasha. So Isham Pradhartam Bhagam Janana Trikarmana Te Dvandamoha Nimukta Bhajanti Mam Nirukvita.
So what has that got to do with Vritrasura?
Yeah, demons are generally not purified of sinful reactions. Isham Pradhartam Papam. But in the case of Vritrasura, though he's a demon, he's become a devotee. Though he's a demon Maharaj, he became a devotee. In demon body, but a devotee.
Yeah, he's a devotee, right? He's in the demon body, but he's a devotee. So we cannot judge who's a devotee just by the external birth, just by the body. That is Vaishnava aparat. If we condemn someone on the basis of their physical body, then it's not proper. So, Maharaj Parikshit still wants to understand how did it happen that he could be such a good devotee. So, he talks about demigods. Demigods, usually they're in the mode of goodness. Of course, not always, right? But generally. In text number 3, he talks about how rare it is that somebody could be a devotee. In the material world, there are as many living entities as atoms. Among these living entities, very few are human beings. Among them, few are interested in following religious principles. So, it doesn't leave you with many people. There's so many living entities, and only a few are human beings, right? 84 lakh species, and only 4 lakh are human beings. So it's rare to get the human body. And of those who have got the human body, only a few are interested in following religious principles. We know among common people, ordinary people, not very interesting. They may come here to Mayapur on Sunday, but they don't necessarily come here to hear and chant. They come here maybe to eat some cheap food, right? They get a cheap meal here, so it brings a lot of people. That's nice. Something. We try to encourage people to come, whatever their motive. We want them to come. Definitely better they come to Mayapur than to go any other place. You come to Mayapur, there's no meat, no intoxication like that. These things are not allowed. So that's good for them. And then text number 4, he continues more, speaking about, because he said only a few people follow religious principles, so he continues, out of many people who follow religious principles, only a few desire liberation from the material world. Other people, what do they want? They just want to enjoy the material world. They follow religious principles, they may be a little pious, they know the goodness, and they're not thinking about liberation. They're thinking more about enjoying, being comfortable in the material world. So a few desire liberation, and then out of thousands who desire liberation, one may actually get liberation. Now many people may want liberation, but how many of them can achieve liberation? That's a difficult thing. And they discuss like this in the purport. They talk that, a lot of people that they try for liberation, but they're not able to achieve it. It's not so easy thing, it's very difficult. Because liberation means giving up all material attachment to society, friendship, love, country, home, wife and children. Among many thousands of such liberated persons, one who can understand the true meaning of liberation is very rare. There was an incident, maybe you heard. There's one devotee. Well, he's a man, is a devotee, he's a Prabhupada disciple, very senior. Prabhupada gave him sannyas. He gave him sannyas a long time ago. But a few weeks ago, or a month ago or something, he got married. Right, did you know about that? He's like 80-something years old.
Oh, yes.
Huh? You heard about it?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, he's 80-something years old and he got married. Yeah. It's kind of strange, isn't it? Certainly, it's bewildering for people coming to the Krishna consciousness movement. Certainly creates some confusion in the minds of people who come to Krishna consciousness that, what kind of, I thought I was coming to a spiritual movement, Can we say it's spiritual? How do you feel about this? How do we explain this kind of thing to common people? We talk about varnashram, brahmachari, grihastha, vanaprastha, sannyas. And this person was a sannyasi, and then in the old age, almost at the end of life, he enters into grihastha ashram. So, what can we say?
Mistakes happen.
Huh?
Mistakes happen from human beings.
Mistakes.
Mistakes happen.
Mistakes happen
from the human beings.
Maya is very strong. Maya is very strong.
Maya is very strong, yeah. Yeah, really, very strong. And Prabhupada also told us, he said, don't be surprised who leaves Krishna consciousness. He said, be surprised who stays. Because Maya is so strong. Well, it's certainly not the kind of thing which Prabhupada encourages. It's not Vedic. in the old age, sometimes people get, go a little crazy, And sometimes, you see that actually this devotee, he was not associating so much with other devotees. He was a bit isolated from everyone. Never saw him in Mayapur. Never saw him come here to Mayapur, come to the festival, be with the devotees. Never saw him for years, I didn't know what was going on. But he has disciples. And so one of his disciples was telling me how he's very healthy, goes out with Harinam Sankirtan, chanting, dancing, So, what can you say? Maybe very healthy physically, but mentally something is a bit wrong, It's definitely not the authorized program. It's not really the kind of example which devotees should be setting. And it's the kind of, it creates confusion for people. It does create confusion. Just like when people take sannyas and they give up sannyas, even young men, when they give up sannyas, it creates confusion. And that's why they adjusted things and made it so that people only take sannyas later, that it must be at least 40, many different conditions also, before they will allow people to take sannyas. But anyway, this man, he had been a sannyasi for many, many years. Done a lot of traveling and preaching. But that when this kind of thing happens, it does bothers people's minds. What kind of and they think, one person does it, they think it could happen with a lot of people. It creates a bad example for our society. In Buddhism they have a different kind of system. Buddhism, you can become a Buddhist monk for some time, and then they do a ceremony when you come in, and then when you go out they do another ceremony. You go out, people come in for some time and then they go out. It's not like when they become a monk, they're going to be a monk for life. Some do, but they don't have to. They can go out, So, in Krishna consciousness, of course, is very culture, and then somebody renounces the material world, then it's meant for life. Just like when we take initiation. When we take initiation, it's meant for life. Right? We take the vows to follow and do the chanting. It's meant to be lifetime vows. Not everybody always understands that, but that's how it's meant to be, that it's supposed to be for life. So similarly, people renounce the world, if they renounce the world and then they come back again into material, because to get married means coming back into the material world. That's not the way it's supposed to be. That is like vomiting and then eating your own vomit. Right? That's how it's described. It's not a good thing. Anyway, these things happen. And you have to expect that, of course, you get these kind of things happening. we have to understand how rare it is that people can remain faithful to their vows and to the principles. So the true meaning of liberation, people, many thousands of liberated souls. You see, to give up, what's mentioned here, giving up material attachment to society, friendship, love, country, home, wife and children. And Srila Prabhupada himself described that it was a painstaking process. Painstaking. Because Prabhupada had a wife and children, and he'd renounced them, gone away. You know, situation at home had not been very nice, so he left the home. But he describes it painstaking, not easy thing. And then Prabhupada, after he left home, after his sannyas initiation, he got gored by a bull in the street in Vrindavan. Got gored by a bull, so he was injured, nobody to take care of him. So at that time then you would have some thoughts, oh, maybe I did wrong, maybe I should go home, you know, that kind of thing. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati also described, he had given some man, one of his disciples, sannyas, and then his wife came there. His wife came and took him away. And Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada said, I could not save him. He felt sorry, he could not save that man. And so these things have been happening for a long time, not something new. And it's not only in ISKCON, it happens in other places too, you know. Some of the acharyas in the Madhva line, you know, some of them are Bala sannyasis. They become sannyasis when they're young children. And they grow up as a sannyasi. But sometimes you get difficult. And they give up their renunciation. There was one man, he can recite the different verses and so on very beautifully, very powerful, very nice. And people like to hear him talk. Anyway, he got a problem and he gave up his renunciation. No. These things happen. It's very rare that people can be actually liberated. It's not just putting on the dress, but there's a lot more to actually liberating. The true meaning of liberation is very rare. So Prabhupada's purport explains 4 classes of men: karmis, jnanis, yogis and bhaktas. Now Prabhupada gives an interesting definition of karmi here. Usually, how do we understand karma yoga? What is the nature of karma yoga?
You do your activity but offer the results to the Lord.
Yes, detached work. Detached work, right? So here Prabhupada says, a karmi tries to be happy within the material world by changing from one body to another. His objective is bodily comfort, either in this planet or in another. So that's not karma yoga, that's just karmi, right? Just enjoying work, enjoying your results. And so the karmi, he wants to be happy, change from one body, move to a different place, go to the higher planets, enjoy more. And then the jnani, he wants liberation. So again, Prabhupada said, one who can actually be liberated is very rare. Many people who are trying for it, they're in the Vanaprastha stage, right? We have our Vanaprastha Prabhu here, right? Jai. One may understand the vow. So many people who are in the Vanaprastha stage, out of many people, one may understand the value of becoming a sannyasi, completely accepting renounced order of life. Of course, Vanaprastha stage is also very good. You know, not like everybody has to become a sannyasi, but internally, you know, if not, maybe not externally, but at least internally, in the Vanaprastha stage of life, one can also be detached from the material. And Prabhupada talks about that such a person gives up attachment to the country, the family, the wife, the children. You can be living with them. You don't have to leave them. Vanaprastha, husband and wife can stay together. They can continue to stay together. But the husband is more absorbed in his devotional activities. He's more into his puja and his study of Shastra and taking part maybe in devotional programs, and the wife will be there to do service. I don't know, I like that. They could be together, doesn't mean they're attached. Yes?
Maharaj, generally they say like woman is like fire and man is like butter. So how is the Vanaprastha ashram practical in that sense? Woman is like fire and man is like butter.
Well, young woman and young man, young woman will be more, you know, like a young man will be more like butter, you know. But it doesn't mean that throughout the whole life, you know. I mean, people get older, you know, they're not going to have quite that same nature as they get older. What do you say, Prabhu?
Correct, actually. I mean, not necessarily that everybody who is Mayapur, is like a, what do you call it? Hot butter. Not necessarily. But some are there, for sure. Some people are very soft-minded, and even though you say anything, they will be okay, very peace of mind. Some people are there. I've seen some people who are Mayapur and very soft and very silent, but not all, definitely.
Yeah, what does Prabhupada say? If they are like fire and butter, the butter should be kept in the fridge. You put in a cold place, right? The butter on the packet says store in a cool place. If you don't have the butter in the cool place, it will melt. So, the same way you keep the men away from the women. That is the point. You know, even though you're married, doesn't mean you spend the whole day with each other, right? You may live in the same home, but the woman can live inside the house, the man can live in the outer part of the house. They don't have to be together all the time, you know. We get a bit older, you know, you don't have to be so attached to each other. Women should be with the other women, and the men should be with the men. That's Vedic culture. The women will be together, they'll be cleaning the grains and doing things like that, looking after the children, taking care of the house. And the men, well, if they're in Vanaprastha stage of life, then they can go to the temple and do puja, or maybe they have deity in the home, they do puja there at home. And they can also arrange programs, like when Prabhupada was at home, he was organizing, bringing people to his home and having programs, preaching to them, right? So, like that. So, fire and butter, that's, if there's too much association. Alright, then text number 5. famous verse. Muktanam api siddhanam narayana parayana. Yes. Is this one of your memorization verses?
Yes, Master.
Yeah. Nice verse, yeah. Muktanam api siddhanam narayana parayana. Among many millions who are liberated and perfect in knowledge of liberation, one may be a devotee of Lord Narayan or Krishna. Such devotees who are fully peaceful are extremely rare. So we know devotees are very rare, right? Among so many people, how many people are devotees? So, Anushanam, Sahasreshu, like that. So, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he's got a long purport on this. It's important. He's explaining about the difference between Mukti and Narayana Parayana, or Siddhi and Narayana Parayana. Muktanam api siddhanam means those who are perfect, right? Siddhanam, who are perfect. And Prabhupada they put there in the meaning, because they understand the insignificance of bodily comforts. Right? Who are perfect because they understand the insignificance of bodily comfort. And Narayana Parayana means a person who has concluded that Narayan is the Supreme. So somebody may be detached from bodily comforts. That's a siddhi, a liberated soul. But they're not Narayana Parayana. They're not devotees. There's a difference, right? People who are detached. So what about the Mayavadis? Can they also be siddhas? Can they also be siddhi? Are they also detached from bodily comfort? Mayavadis?
Yes.
Prabhu?
It depends on the situation of every individual of them.
Huh?
It depends on their development. If they in a good of ignorance, then they attach, and if they develop themselves, there may be some attachment. But they may again fail if they will be cancelled.
Yeah, they may again fail.
Yes. In the future.
Huh?
In the future, and they may again fail if they will not change their mind.
Why would they fail?
Because no attachment to the Lord. They don't develop a higher taste.
Yeah, they don't have a higher taste. Yeah. What do they have a taste for then? What do they do?
Oh, I don't know actually what they clearly.
Huh? Mayavadis, what do they do usually?
Austerities.
Tapasya. Is that all they do? What were the Mayavadis doing in Benares when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went there?
Reading the Vedas.
Reading the Veda? What were they reading?
Vedanta Sutra.
Vedanta Sutra. They read the Vedanta Sutra. Right? That's generally what they spend their time speculating on reading. They read the Vedanta Sutra. And they do some tapasya, yeah? They meditate, they like that, you know. Sometimes they go away from the world, go into the cave or go to the mountains somewhere, go away from everyone. Why? Why do they go away from everyone?
Absolute truth or no? Search for absolute truth?
Sorry, I couldn't understand.
Searching for absolute truth? No.
Yeah, well, they want to understand the absolute truth, but is that a reason why they have to go away from the world?
They think this material world is illusion.
The world is illusion, yeah? Yes, they say the world is illusion.
The association may be contaminating.
Yes, association may be contaminating. You know, two people together, you know, and they talk to each other, and like, you know the story in the Bhagavatam about the lady who had bracelets on her arm? She had bracelets, you haven't read that, 11th Canto. Anyway, 11th Canto, it tells it about the young lady. She was not yet married, and some people came to visit her house to see her, to meet her. So she had a lot of bracelets on her arm, and when you have bracelets on the wrist, they make a lot of noise, you see. They jangle together, you know. And so people came to her house, and they were, you know, to look at her and to see if she was suitable, if she'd make a suitable wife. And so she didn't want them to know that she was poor, and then she had to do the cooking. She had to go in the kitchen and do the cooking. But she had all the bracelets on her wrist, so she took the bracelets until there was only one bracelet on the wrist. There's only one bracelet, it doesn't make any noise, right? If you have more than one bracelet, then they knock against each other, make some noise. So she took the other bracelet and just kept one bracelet on her wrist, and that way, you know, she could do the work in the kitchen without them hearing that she was doing it. And so anyway, people like that, you know, want to be more alone, because when you're with other people, you know, talk to each other, and how are you today, you know, this thing, yeah. You can waste a lot of time talking, common talk. So, for meditation, they want to be more alone. And it's mentioned like that in the 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. You're going to do Ashtanga Yoga, you go alone. You go alone, take the deer skin, sit down on your own, you know. But if you go with somebody else, it becomes more, you know. Of course, we associate because our associate is supposed to be in Krishna consciousness. You're supposed to talk about Krishna. So we don't mind association if it's Krishna conscious association. What we don't want is the village talk, the Gramya Katha. We want to have Krishna Katha. Right, Prabhu? Krishna Katha. Right? Gramya Katha. That's no good. But Krishna Katha, that's what we want. So association, that kind of association. Anyway, we're hearing this purport is discussing the difference between siddhis and those who are Narayana Parayana. Right? What is the difference? What's the difference? Those who are perfect, siddhis means?
Liberated.
Liberated. In what sense?
Through the bodily platform?
Yeah, not on the bodily platform, right. So what about Narayana Parayana? Are they also liberated?
Yeah, they are also liberated.
Are they on the bodily platform?
No.
No. What's the difference then?
They are pure devotees.
So, are the siddhis not pure devotees?
No, not all of them. Some of them are Mayavadis.
No. Siddhis. Yoga siddhis, right?
Yeah.
The Siddhas, they are not direct devotees of the Lord. The Narayana Parayana, they are direct devotees of the Lord.
Yes.
And the Siddhas are not direct devotees.
Right. The siddhis are not devotees, right? They're just detached from the material world. So Prabhupada writes, he said, when somebody desires mukti, Vishwanath Chakravarti is saying, you can read Prabhu, read the purport. Yeah.
Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti gives the following purport to this verse. Simply desiring mukti or liberation is insufficient. One must become factually liberated. When one understands the futility of the materialistic way of life, one becomes advanced in knowledge, and therefore he situates himself in the Vanaprastha order, unattached to family, wife and children. One should then further progress to the platform of sannyasa, the actual renounced order, never to fall again and be afflicted by materialistic life. Even though one desires to be liberated, this does not mean he is liberated. Only rarely is someone liberated. Indeed, although many men take sannyasa to become liberated, because of their imperfections, they again become attached to women, material activities, social welfare work, and so on.
Thank you. Okay. So, Prabhupada's mentioning here, many men take sannyas to become liberated. That in the line of Shankaracharya. Right? You take sannyas in the line of Shankaracharya. And when you meet a Mayapur sannyasi, how do you address him?
Narayana.
Namo Narayana. Right? I offer my obeisances to you who are one with Narayan. They take sannyas to become liberated. Right? So you're supposed to address them like that. Namo Narayana. But what kind of Narayan are they? Narayan is very handsome, very attractive. You know, they're old men, you know, bald men, you know. They're not like Narayan at all, you know. But they're claiming to be liberated souls. So Namo Narayan, they say. And they have the Ekadanda, not the Tridanda, Ekadanda. I mean, one with the Supreme. So their liberation, Sanyujya Mukti. So that kind of sannyas, they take liberation, they take sannyas. What's their purpose, taking sannyas?
To get liberation.
To give up the world. They take sannyas to give up the world. What about a Vaishnava when they take sannyas?
They use the world in Krishna's service.
Yes, right, to use the world in Krishna's service. So that's the difference between the two kinds of sannyasis. So, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took sannyas to use the world in Krishna's service. So, even though one desires to be liberated, does not mean he is liberated. Have the desire. Alright, go ahead, keep reading.
Jnanis, yogis and karmis, devoid of devotional service are called offenders. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Mayavadi Krishna Aparadhi. One who thinks that everything is Maya instead of thinking that everything is Krishna is called an Aparadhi or offender. Although the Mayavadis, impulsives are offenders at the lotus feet of Krishna, they may nonetheless be counted among the Siddhas, those who have realized the self. They may be considered nearer to spiritual perfection because at least they have realized what spiritual life is. If such a person becomes Narayana Parayana, a devotee of Lord Narayana, he is better than a Jivan Mukta, one who is liberated or perfect. This requires higher intelligence.
Okay. So Prabhupada is translating the purport of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. It's in this book. This is Bhanu Swami's edition of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's commentary. Alright, so we have the Jivan Mukta. The Jivan Mukta said, one who is Narayana Parayana, he is better than a Jivan Mukta. Jivan Mukta means liberated soul. So, of course, there's different levels of Jivan Mukta, right? Jivan Mukta can also be the pure devotee. But here they're talking about Siddhas. The Mayavadis, they can be counted among the Siddhas. They've realized the self. So what have they realized? They've realized Aham Brahmasmi. I am not the body. I am not the body. But how long can you go on? Aham Brahmasmi, Aham Brahmasmi, Aham Brahmasmi. That's as far as they go. They don't go any further. Aham Brahmasmi. They know they're not the body. What are they? They're supposed, you should go on. Okay, I'm Brahman. What am I supposed to do? But they think Brahman, stop everything. No more activities. Just merge into the oneness. So the negation of everything, negation of all activities. So they don't understand what is real spiritual perfection. But it says here, they should be considered nearer to spiritual perfection, nearer than the common people, because they've understood something about spiritual. They've understood we're not the body. What we are, but they have not fully understood. They've understood only but we're Brahman, but they have no idea about a supreme Brahman, because they're Mayavadis. Mayavadi, they just consider everything to be Maya. And Krishna comes in the world, he's also Maya. So they don't understand the Supreme Lord. So that's the difference between Siddha, those who are Siddhis, and those who are Narayana Parayana. Those who are Siddhis, they have no engagement. They don't know what is spiritual activity. They think all activity is Maya. They're called Mayavadis. So they think everything you're doing is Maya. They don't understand what is bhakti, what is devotion. And sometimes they talk about bhakti and they will use bhakti to give up everything, to stop everything. Sometimes these Mayavadi people write about bhakti and everything. They don't understand what is real bhakti. There was this one magazine in Hong Kong, there was one yoga ashram, the one yoga society there. And they published this magazine about yoga, and people will write letters, one Mayavadi wrote a letter about bhakti, He's a Mayavadi, he's talking about bhakti, he said, use bhakti to become one, to merge into the Supreme, total nonsense, rascal. So anyway, we tried to write, get it, reply to these kind of challenges when people talk like that. How can we argue against that? How will you defeat that challenge?
Mayavadi bhashya sunile hoisa. We just don't go to them.
Don't go to them?
Yeah.
No, but we have to preach against them. Not just going to go away from them. We should defeat them.
Krishna is saying in the 12th chapter, 5th verse, Klesho adhikataraste avyakta asaktate chetasam avyakta hi gatit dukkham deha vaddir agapate. So Lord Krishna is saying in the Upanishad that your gati is only dukkham. You will find a lot of kleshas in your path.
What?
You will find a lot of difficulties in the path when you merge in, when you worship this impersonal Brahman.
Advancement is very troublesome, for those who are on this path.
Yeah.
Right? Oh, say, okay, advancement is trouble, it's not easy, self-realization, you have to accept. But if you just tell them advancement is very difficult, that's not going to defeat them.
Variety is the mother of enjoyment, so they don't have varieties. In Krishna consciousness, they can experience varieties.
Well, they say they're doing bhakti. They're doing bhakti, they have variety. They're doing bhakti until they become liberated, and then become one with the Supreme, then they become the Supreme, don't need to do anymore.
Explain the importance of Achintya Vaibhava Tattva. Mayapur, one is different, so they may understand.
Yes.
Same and different.
What do you mean?
It's one and different. God is one, at the same time is different.
You say, if they merge in the Brahman, also they achieve the highest perfection by merging in the Brahman. Again, they may have to come back because they have one more aspect where they are different from the Lord and they have their own individuality. And if they have to experience that, they should try a proper Bhakti Marga, not so-called Bhakti Marga.
They should try what?
A proper path of Bhakti which is presented by Vaishnavas.
12th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Bhakti Marga, Bhakti Yoga.
Because they are not experiencing the varieties. So it is boredom and they are losing their individuality. So we should speak to them that they can revive their individuality by serving the Lord.
But they don't believe in the Lord. They say everyone's the Lord. It's all one. Everyone is the Lord. There's no difference between the Lord and the individual. Everyone is God. So you can't talk to them about serving God because everybody's God to them, you know. We're all God.
Quality and quantity. We are one with the God, but not okay.
Anyway, there are different kinds of people like this.
We have to understand these people so that they have some spiritual position. They're on the platform of how far have they got? The cities, how far have they come? What platform are they on? Yeah, the Jivan Mukta. We're up, we could say they're on the Brahman, you know. The Brahman realized. They've realized, Aham Brahmasmi. You know, I am Brahman, right? So they have that realization that they're Brahman. But they don't know what is someone who's Brahman, what are they supposed to do? They are thinking, become God. Become God. God, you don't have anything to do, you're God. God doesn't have anything to do. It's said like that, you know, the Lord has nothing to do. So their process is like that. Stop everything. Negation, nothing, become the supreme. But we have spiritual activities. They think any activity will generate karma and will keep you in the material world. They don't understand that there are activities which are without karma.
It's karma.
Yeah. No power, eh?
It's dead.
Yeah.
Huh?
It's
Yeah.
dead. There's no charge.
Charge finished. I have audio recording. Also, for insurance.
Yeah, so the Mayavadis, their idea is to just stop activity.
We say, no, spiritual activity. They cannot understand, it's difficult for them to understand that there is spiritual activity.
And we should give them some prasadam so they get.
Well, that's another thing, of course, giving them prasadam and giving them the holy name and giving them association. Yeah, it's important to try to get through to these kind of people. Try to purify them a bit. But Mayavadi aparadi, Mayavadi Krishna aparadi. They're offenders to Lord Krishna. Why? What did they do to offend Krishna?
They don't accept the personal form.
Yes, they say that the Lord comes, He comes with a material form. So then the purport goes on to explain two kinds of jnanis. two kinds of jnanis. One is inclined to devotional service and the other to impersonal realization. So two kinds of jnani. Impersonalists generally undergo great endeavor for no benefit. Right? Prabhu quoted the verse from the Bhagavad Gita, Klesho Dikatara. Klesha means trouble, a lot of trouble. They go to a lot of trouble and get very little. And the Srimad Bhagavatam said, they are husking paddy that has no grain. Just like out there in the field, they're husking the mustard, right? They're getting the mustard seeds, you know? So the same way they have a machine like that for husking rice. So sometimes if you husk something that has no grain, there's no point. And so the jnanis are like that. They're husking paddy that has no grain. They're wasting their time, getting nowhere. So impersonalists are like that. Then the other class of jnani, whose jnana is mixed with bhakti, are also of two kinds. So you've got the one class of jnanis, they're impersonalists, just jnana, only jnana mark. You know, generally they'll always speak from the Upanishads. They won't speak from Bhagavad Gita.
Bhagavad Gita is also
No, they won't speak from Bhagavad Gita. They don't accept Puranas. They will only speak from the Upanishads. And you can see sometimes on the internet, you'll see they're giving lectures on this Upanishad or that Upanishad. You know, Ramakrishna Mission, like that, you know. Huh?
My entire family is Ramakrishna Mission followers.
Huh?
My family is Ramakrishna Mission followers.
Yeah, you're Bengali. Bengali people, you know, they got a lot of Bengali people. Yeah. So, because they put up schools, the Ramakrishna Mission School. Did you go to the Ramakrishna Mission School?
No, I'm in Mayapur.
But generally, you know, they go at the, maybe your mother and father went there to their school or something.
They just get initiation without doing anything. It's very simple. I mean, you can eat anything, you can do everything. So it's easy.
Yeah, I mean, they think, oh, he was very great. They see, in Vivekananda, they make a lot of quotes also about Vivekananda. Vivekananda said this, he said that. Prabhupada said, he said he doubted if he actually said a lot of these things. He said, maybe after he departed, they said he said this, you know, just to give him a good name. But
Prabhupada said he's a Mayavadi.
Yeah, he said things like, the fish is the fruit of the sea, so you can eat fish because it's a fruit of the sea. And so people thought, oh, very nice, you know, we can eat fish. Bengali people love fish, so things like that. And he said, of course, the famous quote is Yatamat Tatapat, you know, that one. Oh, it's all one, all the paths lead the same way, so it doesn't matter what you do, it's all one. So people think, oh, very good, you know. People like that, you know.
Yes.
They want to hear these kind of things. If they hear this is right, this is wrong, oh no, this is no good, you know. But if everybody's right, it doesn't matter, it's all one, it's all very nice. They like that. Doesn't confront them, doesn't challenge them. Anyway, these are gyanis, this kind of thing. Nowadays, they do put a lot of emphasis on gyan. The gyanis generally they only follow the shruti. They don't accept smriti. So they're speaking from the Upanishads. And you've got two classes of gyan. One is mixed with bhakti. Two classes of gyan, whose gyan is mixed with bhakti. And they're of two kinds. They're Jnana Mishra Bhakti, right? Bhakti mixed with Jnana. So two kinds. One kind. What are the difference between the two?
One is a pure devotee, other is
The other one worships the so-called form of the Lord.
Yeah.
Narayana or Vishnu.
One group worships a so-called form. And the illusory or a Maya Narayan, you know, and a so-called false form of the Lord. And the others worship the Satchid Ananda form of the Lord. So that's the difference. Mayavadis, they worship Narayan or Vishnu with the idea that Vishnu has accepted a form of Maya. And that the ultimate truth is actually impersonal. Brahman Satyam, Jagat Mithya. Right? They say Brahman is truth and the Jagat is false. So this is how they like it. Pure devotee, however, never thinks that Vishnu has accepted a body of Maya. Vishnu's form is always transcendental, pure. It's the absolute truth. So it's not a form of Maya. The ultimate truth is personal, not impersonal. The Prabhupada writes in the Ishopanishad, everything within our experience and beyond is the Supreme Lord. So he's impersonal, but he is also personal. He's both personal and impersonal. But they're saying only impersonal. It's very common in South India. Everyone's an impersonal. Shivite worshippers. Shivites usually impersonal. So.
Now the number of Vaishnavas are increasing, Maharaj. Many people are coming to Tirupati. The number is increasing a lot. Per day at least 1 lakh people are visiting. So the belief in Lord Vishnu has increased in South India.
Belief in Lord Krishna?
Lord Vishnu.
Lord Vishnu?
Yeah, Tirupati.
More in Sri Vaishnavism?
They don't follow any Vaishnavism, but in every house you have a picture of Narayana and they kind of think that he is the Supreme.
Okay.
Yeah. That has increased a lot. Especially in Andhra, Telangana, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, increasing.
Yeah, preaching certainly makes a difference.
Yeah, Sri Vaishnavas are also preaching a lot.
Who?
Sri Vaishnavas?
They're preaching a lot?
Yeah, they're also preaching a lot.
Really?
Yeah. In South India.
Okay.
But they don't preach it.
They preach. Chinnadhyaya Swami, he started this. Chinnadhyaya Swami, he preaches a lot.
I met him.
Yeah. They're preaching in the US also, Mother.
Yeah, he goes to the US.
Yeah. Houston, he has a temple in Houston. He has a temple in Houston.
Oh, he's a temple?
Yeah, he has a temple.
He came to Switzerland also. He had some followers there in Switzerland, in Geneva. Just a few people, not many. But he came to a Rath Yatra even in Hyderabad.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
And he spoke. And it's quite favorable. Tell him, Chief.
They have their own magazine, like our Back to God magazine. They sold me in Houston actually. I was in my college studying Maharaj. They sold their own magazine, like Sri Vaishnava magazine, this is Sri Rama or something. They were selling the magazine, they followers.
They were selling their...
The magazines with some Kada, Sri Vaishnava Kada.
The Sri Vaishnava magazine.
Yeah.
Actually, there is a temple in South India, Bhadrachalam, where Lord Rama and Sita's temple is there, Bhadrachalam. So we went there for book distribution once with a team. So Maharaj was there, the Chinnajiva Swami, he was there, and he spoke to me. I also spoke to him. He appreciated the book distribution. He said, you can distribute book. And then we were having no facility for prasadam, so he called us to their ashram, and then we took prasadam there. They offered it to Rama and Sita, and then we took prasadam there.
Bhadrachalam.
Bhadrachalam.
Yeah, I've been there. Bhadrachalam.
Yeah, all the Sri Vaishnavas, they were there, and they do Lord Rama and Sita's wedding ceremony happens.
Wow.
Yeah, very big. Everybody goes as if they're going for a real wedding.
Something, now they do also Tosi Vaibhava. You bring Tosi, everybody comes with a Tosi.
Yeah, he said allow ISKCON devotees, don't disturb them. So we were a group of book distributors there. So all were Sri Vaishnava. They said you allow ISKCON people, there is no problem, let them have a bookstall. And whenever we wanted to go inside to see for darshan, so we were having free darshan from the main entrance. So nobody stopped us. So he was kind of favorable for with ISKCON devotees.
Yeah, very favorable. They built that big temple in Hyderabad.
Statue of Unity.
Statue of Equality. You got to pay to go in. You're supposed to pay 200 rupees or something. So pure devotee never thinks Vishnu has a body of Maya. A devotee is actually situated in knowledge. He never merges into the Brahman. And then Prabhupada quotes a verse from 10th Canto, 2nd chapter. The famous verse, right?
Yeah. India Vindakshi Bhukta Majinas Payasta Bhavas Arishuddha Buddhaya Arihya Chira Paramparam Tata Patantiyada Nadata Ishmat Angraya.
Arora Krishrena Parampatam Tata Patanti Adon Nrita Yasmat Angraya. Right? They fall down. Intelligent people think they're liberated, but their intelligence is avishuddha buddhaya. Avishuddha buddha, not pure intelligence. So they fall down, fall back to the material world, even though they come up to the point of liberation by great austerities and penances, but they're sure to fall down because they did not take shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord. And then to support this, he quotes 9:11 from the Bhagavad Gita, that Krishna says the same thing in Bhagavad Gita. The foolish mock at me the foolish mock at me descending amongst them like an ordinary being. They do not know my transcendental nature and supreme dominion over all that be. And then he quotes also 9:12. Again, Mogasha Moga Karmano Moga Jnana Vichetasa Rakshasim Masurim Chaiva Prakritim Mohinim Shrita. Right? What happens to people who think like that? They think Krishna's body is material. What happens to these people?
They're attracted by demoniac and atheistic views.
Yeah, they become Rakshasas. They take birth in the family of Rakshasas and these kind of people. They can't understand how Krishna could be the origin of everything. So these people are described as mogashaha, baffled in their hope. Everything they will try to do will be baffled because they want to merge. So some people want to go to the heavenly planets by devotional service. What will happen to them? It said they will also be frustrated because this is not the result of devotional service. Trying to go to heavenly planets, they won't go there. They will be given a chance to engage in devotional service and be purified. And then Prabhupada quotes, Srinvatam Swasita Krishna. So Krishna cleanses the desire for material enjoyment from the hearts of those who relish his message, which is in itself virtuous when properly heard and chanted. And without cleaning the dirt, you cannot become a pure devotee. Therefore, Sudurlabha, very rarely found. Not only among hundreds and thousands, but among millions of perfectly liberated souls. Wow! You can understand how rare it must be if hundreds and millions of perfectly liberated souls, a pure devotee is hardly ever found. Therefore, Koteshvapi. And there's a quotation, very interesting quotation from Madhvacharya, from the Tantra Bhagavat. There are 90 million demigods. We never heard this any other place. Usually we hear how many? 33 crore.
Yes.
Well, that's more than 90 million. 90 million is only 9 crores, right? But they say 33 crore. Isn't it? 33 crore devas. Here it says there are 90 million demigods and 70 million sages who are all called Narayanaya, devotees of Lord Narayan. Among them, only a few are called Narayana Parayana. So Narayana, the Sri Vaishnavas, they chant that, right? Om Namo Narayanaya. So Om Namo Narayanaya. This is Om Namo Narayan. This is Narayana. Narayana
Yana.
Narayana. Narayana.
Keep on saying.
And you're supposed to chant 108 times a day, right? So only a few are Narayana Parayana. So we have to understand how rare it is. Someone is the difference between the Siddha and Narayana Ayana, or Narayana Parayana, between Siddhas and Narayana Parayana, is that direct devotees are called Narayana Parayana, whereas those who perform various types of mystic yoga are called Siddhas. Yeah. Mystic yogas are called, mystic yogis are called Siddhas. But direct devotees, Narayana Parayana.
These Mayavadis, it's very difficult to preach to them.
Yes.
So will they ever become devotee, like for eternity they are Mayavadis? Or they also sometimes change their philosophy, their conception about the absolute truth?
Well, with four Kumaras and Sukadeva Goswami were on the platform of Brahman, they became devotees. Certainly Mayavadis can also become devotees. We do see some people, they came to Krishna consciousness, they were Mayavadis before they came.
But there is the good variety of Mayavadi who are actually searching for the absolute truth. But these Mayavadis who are offenders of the Lord, who come to the understanding that Lord has no form and this world is illusion, so they can also become devotee one day.
Yes, they can, by the mercy of a devotee. If a devotee is merciful to them, you know, as you say, give them prasadam, welcome them into association of devotees. Yeah. There were several people who became devotees. We get different sadhus becoming devotees. You know, even there's one devotee, a South Indian man. He was a Swami and became a devotee. Got initiation from Prabhupada. Amitabha. You know Amitabha? Amitabha. He was very learned. He was Tamil speaker. And very learned, and he was a sadhu. He was Swami something. And he became a devotee.
He was a Mayavadi?
Yeah, everywhere Mayavadis. India full of Mayavadis.
Maharaj Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, Prakashananda Saraswati, changing with Mahaprabhu, they staunch Mayavadi.
Yeah, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, Prakashananda Saraswati. Sarvabhauma gave up logic. Sarvabhauma, he was a Nyaya, he was a logician, philosopher. Yeah, he was like Mayavadi. And became devotee.
Maharaj, during the four Kumaras, they just got the smell of the tulsi and their consciousness changed. So.
Yeah, they were not real Mayavadis, they were Brahmagyanis, right?
Yeah.
More Brahmagyanis, so they quickly could become devotees.
Yeah.
So, Mayavadis, those who, you know, they're more difficult, maybe they're more in the grips of Maya. Difficult to change them. But association, it's not a good idea to argue on philosophy with them.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, to encourage them, let them have nice prasadam, chant the holy name, the kirtan, very powerful. Join in the kirtan, chant the holy name. You know, a lot of people who say they're Mayavadi, it's not very deep. It's just they never heard anything else.
Yes.
They were never exposed to other philosophies, you know, so they hear it and they think, oh, this is it. You know, I thought that, you know, before I became a devotee, I was like a Mayavadi, you know. I've been reading all different gurus' books. When I went to the temple, they said, do you know who God is? I said, I'm God, we're all God. You know, they just laughed at me, you know. And then they talked to me and they preached to me. Okay. So a lot of people, they just don't understand. Just need association. That's what Krishna consciousness movement is for. Give people association. Bring them out of the ignorance.
So the Mayavadis, they become Mayavadis because they associated with the Mayavadis.
Well, they hear from Mayavadis because the Mayavadi literature is everywhere. Mayapur books. You know, so many things. You know, I remember I used to see everywhere Vivekananda books, Ramakrishna Mission books in our public library. Used to see their books all the time, you know.
Sure.
And those were the kind of books which were available, you know, that's what we thought. And people, even when they started to teach Hinduism in the UK, you know, they introduced a course on different religions because they have so many different religions there now in the UK. So they had to have a course on Hinduism. So the people who were teaching Hinduism, they didn't know that you could have Vaishnava, such a thing as Vaishnavism, with a god, because they thought in Hinduism there's you know, many gods. They thought that was Hinduism, you know. They didn't know there's a Hinduism where there's one god. It was all new to them, you know. Our devotees had to teach them all that. They had to write books on it and everything for them. So that's why Prabhupada wanted devotees, you know, to do things like study and go to universities and take, you know, get degrees from them, and then teach, you know, and start preaching and explain the philosophy of Krishna consciousness. Is Rabindra Swarup still here in Mayapur? You know Rabindra Swarup?
He used to come to the Potomac temple.
Huh?
He used to come to the Potomac temple.
Yeah, but he moved to Mayapur.
I haven't seen him.
I saw him like 2 weeks back.
Huh?
Mayapur.
Huh?
I saw him 2 weeks back in Mayapur. 3 weeks back.
2 weeks.
He was doing a morning walk.
Yeah.
So I saw him, but
He's staying in Sakinivas.
yes, again, yes.
He came here and his wife, they're retired. They're both, you know, very old now. Yeah, I thought they came here, they came about a year ago here to Mayapur.
Yes,
to Mayapur. Just stayed in Mayapur.
Yes.
Anyway, he was a scholar. He did his PhD in university there. But he didn't write his thesis on anything. It wasn't really Krishna consciousness. It was some philosopher. But he's a very scholarly devotee, and he wrote very nice articles for Bhakti Godhead. If you read any of his articles, very nice. Okay, we'll have a break.